Hi, my name is Gail Fry, and today I'm going to talk about Module 1, the 3 levels of government control of public education. My introduction slides about me are that I'm a third grade teacher for Wichita Public Schools, and I have been for the past 10 years. I've taught both first and third grade. Both my undergraduate and graduate degrees are from Southwestern University. Prior to becoming a teacher, I was a social worker for 18 years, and I earned my bachelor's in social work from Wichita State University. Currently, I am teaching at Isley Traditional Magnet Elementary School. We're located on Woodlawn, North Woodlawn. We teach pre-K through 5th. We have 525 students, and it's a teacher-student ratio of 14-1, 38% minority enrollment. Overall testing is the top 50% in Kansas, with a math proficiency of 36% and a reading proficiency of 49%. Isley was located on North 18th Street, which is very close to Wichita State University. And it was named after William Henry Isley, who also was a dean at Wichita State University. Then it was moved in 2012 to North Woodlawn. Currently, Kathy Stiver is our principal and Chris Anderson is our assistant principal. And we have about 100 staff members and nearly 600 students. All right, content questions. What support do public schools receive at local, state, and federal levels of government? At the local level, support is done by creating school districts which are governed by a school board. The members of the school board are either elected, which is how the district UST 259 gets their school board members, or they are appointed by a mayor or an elected official. State support is done by creating standards, Common Core in Kansas. These standards provide a framework for states and districts so that they're able to look at school performance levels. The state also provides for less than half of the school's operating costs. And then at the federal level, support is created each year when Congress passes a federal budget, which allows for about 10% of the funding for public schools. In order to receive this funding, the states must comply with requirements. So an example of that would be the No Child Left Behind Act or the state testing that we do every year. And both the federal and state governments provide just over half of the public school funding, and the rest is at the local level where school boards must fund it. Who is in charge of these various levels regarding education? All three entities, local, state, and federal government, are in charge of public education. However, federal seems to have the most influence. They require states to follow rules and regulations in order to receive their funding. Reforms passed by Congress are followed by the Federal Department of Education. They get data, follow their performance, and make policy changes and see what outcomes may occur. State governments create their own departments of education and have laws that help schools run appropriately. State governments often give most of the responsibility to local governments, but if they do not agree with how the schools are being run, they can reclaim this authority. Funding for the state government is usually earned through sales tax within a state. Local governments decide how schools will function, and these local districts, which are created by states, have members that are usually elected. The school board helps to establish curriculum, hiring teachers and other faculty, and decide when schools should be open to operate, combined, or built. Which of the 3 levels of government have the most influence over these NS number 6 components? All 3 levels of government have significant influence over the components. Federal government has the responsibility to make sure that all public education students have a free and high quality education. They need to make sure that those students most in need have the resources. They also provide the support needed for state and local governments to strive for success in public schools. The state and local governments are also influential in providing funds, curriculum, staff, and a safe, nurturing environment where all students can learn. Without all 3 entities working together, public education would suffer. NELP Standard 6. How does all of this support educational success and well-being of each student and adult? Operations and management discusses how we must implement knowledge, skills, and commitment while educating our students. This is done by applying laws, policies, and regulations. In component 6.1, it discusses the fact that the school must operate in order to meet the learning needs of all the students. This helps to promote the vision and the mission of the school and drives instruction. In 6.2, it discusses the data for evaluation done in school and how this drives the school improvement and helps the student become more successful. In 6.3, it discusses the importance of student success and well-being. This can be done by looking at the communication, rights, and policies within the school. These standards that must be in place for a school, these are standards that must be in place for a school to operate effectively. Without the well-being of students in mind, laws and policies, evaluation and data, as well as the vision and mission, students would not receive the education they need and deserve. Standard correlation. NELP Standard 6 is all about the operations and management of schools. The assignment correlates because without local, state, and federal governments working together, schools could not operate or be managed appropriately. Relevance. This assignment is relevant to my current learning. I am a teacher, but I'm trying to make a move up, and knowing the three entities of government work is important in order to lead a school. I really had no idea how much a role the federal and state governments played in public schools. I have been more aware of the local government because I've watched and listened to school board meetings and decisions that they are making about our schools. Reflection. I don't know that it will change the way I teach. I am locally governed by our school board and follow their curriculum. However, as a future leader, it gives me the understanding that I need to make future choices about the school I lead and how I can address my faculty and help them understand how our schools are managed and operated. I can see, for example, how I could question, or I have questioned certain procedures in schools that I've worked at. Seeing that some of these procedures are governed by state and local as well as federal governments could be an explanation to staff that makes sense. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.